Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to another exciting and informative tutorial in our tutor. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you the basics of user interface and user experience design. If you're a graphic designer and want to learn UIUX design, or you are a beginner who don't know how to get expertise in UIUX design, and you're a fresher who want to pursue the career in UIUX design, then this tutorial is absolutely for you. Okay, before going into the actual lesson, so what is UI and what is UX? UI stands for user interface and UX stands for user experience. That means if you see this ketchup bottle, so in one hand, in the left side, you see the bottle with the name UI. So that means you can only see the nice color, nice shape of the bottle, but not the experience. If you want to pour the ketchup, you have to spill the ketchup, you have to shake the bottle too many times with this kind of glass bottle. But whereas in the user experience side bottle, you see, you can easily feel that it is very user friendly bottle because its shape indicating that it's a plastic bottle, and also it's inverted downside and stand in a cap. That means all the ketchup inside already came to the near to the I mean whole of the bottle. And also it's a plastic bottle, so you can simply squeeze it to spill the ketchup. So right side bottle is more user friendly than the left side. If you see this car, you can feel its color, ambience, and the luxuriness. It's see, all whatever you see is its interface. But what is experience? Once you seated inside of the car on that seat, you feel comfort, luxury, and very smooth. See, that experience is called the user experience. Like the way the steering, the shape, the button styles, and overall the leather around that, all these things are interface. But what when you seated in the seat and hold the grip of the hand, steering, you feel the comfort by your hands position, the distance between the steering and the seat. This is called actual experience. Like the gear, so the simple style in older cars, it's actually big gear rods there. Gear rods were there. So as the trend is going on and the user experience is more demanding, you see, the gear rod is very simplified with a proper grip and all these things. And also the car which is with multiple features like sound system, AC, air conditioning, and the auto lock systems, like dialing system, GPS, all these things are user related to user experience. So whether it's a car, motorcycle, mobile phone, whatever that may be, everything is user experience, the demand of the user experience. What is, and also what's the main goal of user experience? The main goal of user experience is solving the problems of users. You see, in this image, it is the 25 years evolution of mobile phones. The very first one with card and very big in size and no digital interface, only buttons, and even it's not that much of friendly to carry everywhere. As the trend goes on, as the user demanded, the experience is needed. So it's as generations pass on, the more iterations are happen. See, at last we got the smartphones with a big digital screen, with camera, and with single button. See, in the older version of phones, there are multiple buttons you need to dial, and with the only smaller screen and with the antenna, all these things. But as the latest trend came into the market, as the trend changer, the Macintosh Apple product, iPhone with a single touch button. So the it completely changed the I mean the usage and the features mindset of the mobile. That way you can only access with one single button with the center. Even in Android versions also, previously there are three buttons, center one, right and left one. But the iPhone contains only one center button, which is easily accessible and with a simple thing. In user experience, it's always important to maintain the simplicity. Simplicity means not removing the design elements and all these things, but to give the complex feature in a simplified manner. That is called the simplicity. Okay, friends, with that, I hope you got an idea about that what is UI and what is UX and how to think for better user experience. So to solve this all these things, if you go to the if you're going to design for iOS, they have already given certain set of human interface guidelines. It's actually user experience. Most recently, it's changed to be human interface because it's not like a car, it's a mobile phone, right? You're actually seeing interfaces and accessing your things through the interface. So to solve the problems through your mobile apps or your website, you need a sleek and simplified user interface to access the website or mobile phone, right? For that, Apple has released set of their guidelines for if you're going to develop for a I mean Mac OS based, they given set of guidelines for Mac, and if it's for iOS like tablet or mobile phone, they given for iOS like that TV OS, watch OS. Whatever the product you're going to design, you can see their guidelines, their components, and use those components to design and develop your mobile app. So as I'm discussing here more about the mobile, I'm going actually inside of the iOS. Okay friends, here we landed inside iOS design theme. If you go inside and study, check all these things, you'll absolutely get a clear idea about the interface design guidelines and all these things. It's very well documented. So themes, how the theme should be for mobile iPhone mobile, iPad, and if you go, what is their architecture, interface essentials. I'm going inside actually the interface essentials. So here you can see bars, views, and controllers, right? So let's go into the bars first. There you can see a set of bars like navigation bar. That means where you can have, I mean, you can navigate to back screens and have set of menu, set of icons on the top bar. By clicking on them, you can create or you can do some actions there. I'm just giving you a brief idea, but you better study this detailedly. I'm not explaining the text what is here, but I'm explaining briefly. You better study all these things. Anyhow, I'm going to provide all the links in the description section, so you can check the description for the links of all this. What I'm going to explain you, I'll give all the links in the description, so don't worry about that. Navigation bar and the navigation bar titles, that means which contains the title of the screen. If it's a email thing, so there should be inbox, that means where you can see all your inbox mails like that. So every screen should contain its name, because to avoid the confusion of the user, that means where the user is actually in the in a particular screen, to know him that which screen is accessing. So for that we should have to give title there. So and also these are called the navigation bar controllers. These are the segment controllers. So we use segment controllers in navigation bar also, but before that we should actually we are discussing more about the bars. Don't yet go into the controllers. And there are such bars where if it's in contacts you can search inside the search for the particular contact or any information related things. So these are called the search bars. This is to cancel the search, I mean to close the search, cancel the search. Actual search text should become here. This is called scope bars. So there is little variation between scope bar and segments bars. You should be aware of all these things before you actually going to use search bars, I mean scope bars and the segment controller. Scope bar can be added to search bar to let people refine the scope of the search. That means if you search for something, John, see here, John pleased. So it will pop up a scope bar. So where do you want to actually search? For current mailbox or mailboxes? So this is the purpose of scope bars, like the status bars. In the status bar, actually you can see the time and the battery status, signal status, and the network status. All what is the status, it will show in the status bar of your phone status. That is called the status bar, which is the very topest bar of all the bars. After that we'll got the title bar and all, and then the tab bars. So this is called the tab bar, which we use for the footer menu, where you can give your menu items in this tab bar. So you can give menu items in the tab bar. This is called the tab bar. Toolbars. So in this it will actually provide set of tools like share the screen or copy the screen, something like this. If you're using to give any tools for your mobile app, you can use toolbar to give set of icons and tools there, like share, filters, all these things. So as we done with the bars, go to the views. There are a lot of views inside. Action sheets, gives you set of actions. So anyhow, go through each and everything individually. Activity views. So when you share something, it will show you where to share. It will show you all the installed social media apps and all, and also give you few options like add to bookmarks, copy it, paste it, and all these things. Along with the along with the given interface icons, you can use your own custom actions there. For the, I mean, activity icons there. So these are all the nativity controls. That means there is no certain rule that you should have to use only these things, but it will give you the native look and feel of the application, that it is, oh, it is a iOS related application. So for that you have to use these native controllers. You can also use your own design language system, but you should have to stick on these rules only. If you're going to design for iOS, you should stick to these rules, because the developers will develop based on this only, because they access these elements and change as per your design. So keep in mind, don't do complex designs, because it will make the developer difficult to develop, integrate those things in the actual design. Alerts. Alerts are something like, it will show you some pop-ups like, do you want to access camera, do you want to access current location, and if something is wrong, it will give you an alert message. Oh, when you log out, are you sure you want to log out? It will ask for set of questions and take some inputs from you, like, see here, current location not available, your current location cannot be determined at this time. When you tap on OK, it will leave it. So like that, these are all the alerts. And collections, which is used for gallery. You can maintain internal gallery for your app also. Image views display the images. Pages, if it's a news kind of what news kind of application, or any uh, magazine related application, they use pages controller, they mean views there to view the pages. Popovers, there is little difference between popovers and alerts. See here in the tablet, if you tap on the plus icon here, it will show a popover with certain actions there. It's showing the like overall calendar and all this. In popover, actually you can completely show your app screen in a popover, but in alert you can't show that. Alert is only for giving you some alerts and all these things. In popover, you can show your complete page layout and design as a popover also. Scroll wheels, there are horizontal scrolls. So when you're, see for example, you're searching for some products in shopping apps, you'll swipe them horizontally, right? That is called the scroll views. They use scroll views to scroll the given items there. Split views only for tablets. In mobile it's difficult to do this way, but if you flip your mobile horizontally, then it will show the split view. Split view is actually one side they maintain the actual controllers, and other side the features inside of that menus, like web view. If the link is redirecting to any website, it will load the website in web view. Okay guys, these are the views, and after that we are going inside the controllers. These are the actual controllers that are going to maintain for the actions to be done. Okay friends, inside the controllers there are actually buttons, context menus, edit menus, labels, page controllers, pickers, and progress indicators, refresh content controllers, segmented controllers, sliders, steppers, switches, text fields, and extents. So all these buttons we use. So there are different type of buttons, like button with backgrounds, without backgrounds, textual buttons, and all these things. These are the main things for the action to be done. If you're going to send for something, you have to click on send button. When you're logging in an application, you should have to press, I mean tap on a login button. So buttons are very important for the application. Like that, See here, the info buttons, these are also called buttons. The developer actually take the button controller and use these kind of icons for the buttons. If you're going to add any new thing, new message, new text, they'll use this kind of buttons. So these are the buttons, like context menus. See, if there is a photo and you want to share it or make it as a favorite, and if you want to copy it, you can use context menus to provide all the features, actions of that photos. You can use context menus like that. Edit menus, when you long press on something, for an example, see here, if you long press in a text, it will give you a pop-up kind of menu which is called edit menus, where you can cut it, copy it, replace it, paste it, and all these things can be done. You can design these kind of things by using edit menus interface, labels, page controllers. So page controller is actually used for multiple pages to be swiped horizontally. So page control actually show this kind of dotted indicators. It will show you, okay, it is actually there are multiple pages stacked. So it will give you that way of impression when you see these controllers. Otherwise you don't know if there is other page or not, but when you use these page controllers, you automatically know, okay, there are some other pages also there. So you can use these pickers like calendar, date pickers, time pickers. So okay guys, up to now you have seen the human interface guidelines of iOS, right? And like this, not only for iOS, there are other interface, I mean UI UX guidelines for other platforms and other OSs like Android, and for cross platform like React Native, Angular, and all these things. Let's briefly check those things also. If you go for material.io site, there you can see the guidelines for Android apps design. So there they're given a lot of things about overview, bottom up bar, accessibility, and here you can see the layout, navigation, typography, iconography. What is iconography? So I will show you. And material design is a very well documented. You can learn a lot of things in material design guidelines. So the layout should be predictable, consistent, and responsive. So actually you can see here the responsive layout grid they have given, right? So they are actually 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 with 8 columns, and these are called the grid columns. And this is what is the color blue, right? It is called gutter and margin. The margin is actually the space between column to column is called gutter, I mean margin, and the outer space is called gutter. So these things you will use when you're designing in actually the softwares like in XD or Figma. So pixel density is very important. You should have to follow the dimensions given by this. So for actually, if you're designing for iOS platform, there are different kind of resolutions. Like you see here, for iPhone 4 5, if you're, so as the iPhone 5 is very older version now, the people are mostly using from 6 to and above. So you have to choose 375 pixels width and 670 667 pixels height, like that. All this for iPad and web, right? You can also define your own custom sizes, but these are the predefined size of the application design. So you should have to follow the pixel density very clearly. Here, if you see in the corner, the rectangle ending lines are exactly fit with the pixels, right? Not into the middle of the pixels. So that is called the pixel perfection. You can see the screen physical width, screen density, all these things here. You can take reference from here and take your dimensions for the design and use the resolutions as per the given dimensions. So spacing methods, what is the actual margin to maintain between the component to component. See here, the given how much of pixels height to be maintained as a margin, right? From footer label to the actual bottom, it is 12 pixels, like that. From icon to the top, it's 8 pixels. So I can't explain everything here, but I'm giving you the base idea. As you go on, you will see. So what I suggest you strictly is please refer all these things. If you're doing the vertical list, should have to maintain 48 pixels of list height. For buttons, in button, along with the text, you will use icons also. So for that, you have to maintain the particular margins for the button and the icon. These guidelines are given here. So from element to element, the gap between the element to element is actually called padding. The overall measurement of the button is dimensions, and alignment is also very important. Mostly alignment is the most important thing for UI and UX design, because it defines the it separates you from professional designer to the normal designer. Because many normal designers won't follow all these things, they simply copy something and design without following these guidelines. So following these guidelines are very important. See here, the heading, text, these columns, everything is aligned left with perpendicular to everything, right? So that is called the alignment. Check for the margins and spacings. What is status bar height, what is title bar height, what is card view height, all these things are maintained here. So status bar height is 24 dp, app bar height is 56, list item height is 88. So if you follow these measurements, your design will absolutely looks like, if you're designing for Android, it completely look like native Android design. So these kind of measurements are given for iOS also. You can check in the human interface guidelines. So as you see here, the alignment is the placement of elements within a component. Everything is centered horizontally. Layout grid, p lines. I hope I am giving you the brief idea of how to study these guidelines, how to refer them. But if you got any doubt, you can please comment in the comment section so that I can explain you. These are the ratios. So 16:9 is like 1920 to 1080 resolution. HD resolution. You can check here. And also in you after you designed, you have to give these assets individually to the developer to integrate them in the actual the development, right? So you have to give this icon separately as a asset. So for that you have to maintain certain margins and width and height, otherwise it will become like stretch or squeeze. It won't look proper, and also it make developers work more complex. Component behavior, I know that I'm not covering, I'm touching everything, but you'll check and you'll see. So here they mentioned above, below, position, above, below, in front of, behind, left, right. Just like in our softwares, we use alignments, right? Actually, these are they given here. And also in material guidelines, they clearly mentioned you what how to design and what what is correct and what is wrong. So with this red indicator, they're clearly telling you don't use a container on fluid component if it's too narrow to display embeds and padding at a smaller width. And they also tell you what is the correct way of designing. So do follow all these things to get the good results. And also they're telling you how the side navigations can become top navigation as per the layout and all these things. So here they're telling to maintain components with greater density. So that way it looks better with proper margins, proper gutter, and proper paddings, proper alignments. All these things are very important. And also they mention you how to give navigation. They'll explain all these things. And also typography. What is typography? So what is the fonts? How to use them? What is the heading? Different kind of headings. What sizes should we use? All these things they given. Roboto is the default font for the Android, so you can use these. If it's heading 1, it should be this way, and it's for subtitle and normal fonts. So they given you all these things here. You better check once. They given the h1 size and font weight. So this table is very important for you. Once go through this thing, and then iconography. It is what we mostly use because icons are very important for the stylized UIUX design. So they clearly gave you the mockup for icon design, how to design. They given particular grid for the design, and also they explained below how to use this. If it is square, your icon should bound between the square box. If it's in circle, your icon should come between these circles only. That way it will look good when it come to the app launching icon. Guys, don't skip this. Do for study all these things very clearly. As it is introduction to UIUX, I'm not explaining you. I'm only giving you a brief idea by showing all these things. What is system icons, product icons? Product icons are actually the launching icons, which will be shown in on the screen of your home. I mean mobile home. These are actually icons to use inside of the UI of the application. So they're telling make icons graphics as bold and simple, not with too many lines and like this, and also in a simplified way, not in realistic way. Do follow the margins and spacings. See, clarity, pixel perfection. Here it is not pixel perfect, and that's why it's looking blurry, right? But here it's very pixel perfect, aligned to the every pixels on the edges. That's why it's looking very clear. If your graphics are looking blur, make sure that it is in points like 0.04, 24.2. Don't use this kind of dimensions like 24.2. These dimensions and these elements make your art, I mean icons or texts or images look blurry. So you should keep pixel perfect with precise values. Anatomy of the icons they given here. What is the rounded radius of the edges? If you follow, if you're going to design your own custom icons for Android application, do follow these guidelines so that your icons will look absolutely like the material design icons. And also they given you icons to download freely. You can download them and you can use all these icons. See here, they maintain the consistency, use consistent stroke weight and square stroke terminals. This square and this box, this thing, and the surface of the circle all are equal, whereas here not like that. So follow these guidelines. Check here the margin values. Don't use 3D kind of or any, and don't try to uh, use all your creativity here. Simple and perfect icons are more preferred, and also the icon should be predictable. When the user see that icon, he should has to understand what is that icon is. See here, the ship is something like realistic. Here it is simplified. These are the actually icons we use in mobile apps or any kind of web designs. So they are already given for colors. There are material colors, material icons, all these things are available ready to download. So don't do this way. This is the correct. Follow the rounded radius properly. See here, the internal elements don't need rounded corners. See, customize the corner radius to remain legible while reflecting your product style. The internal things are no need rounded corners because they optimize the shape of your icon. Check this ones, animated icons. If you're going to provide them animated icons for the developers, you should have to follow these things. Only simple motion is required, not too much of shape morphings, shape transmissions. All these things are not necessary. Just to give the your icon a lively look, just simple thing is enough. What kind of shapes to use and what are the different shapes convey, different states of shapes. This is called floating action button with background. So what to do, what not to do, everything is here, they conveyed very clearly. Okay guys, I hope I have given you a brief introduction on material design also. You just check this site, read everything properly, and note down the every important point you have found, and follow all these things when you're actually designing. Check for colors also. There are primary colors and secondary colors are there in Android design. So they use different colors for different purposes and different formats. Knowing all these things are very important. Don't skip this. Otherwise, you can't make perfect Android or perfect iOS kind of designs. So like that, there are other things, other components and guidelines for Angular material. If you're doing a website interface design or any backend kind of application based on and it's developing based on the Angular, then following Angular guidelines are very important. If you don't know what is Angular and what are these things, you should know them from W3 schools, and you should have to know minimal, at least minimal things about HTML and CSS and how to using, how the developer use them. In that way you can give a proper design which is very friendly for the developer, because if you design very complex thing and that is difficult for the developer to integrate, and that makes the project to prolong, and it will finally make, there are many chances for the failure of the development. So don't think that developer can do anything and you can give anything to the developer. Of course, if you have time and lot of time, you can do things, and you can give the developer and they can do research and then develop. But in sometimes it's not the case always. There are strict deadlines in this industry, so you should have to know at least minimum of the HTML and CSS, so that you will follow certain rules while you're designing. Don't go beyond the limitations. Check for checkboxes. What is checkbox? So when they will use checkboxes, you can study them. Date pickers to, if you're in application, while you're registering, if they ask for something like male or female for your sex, you will choose checkbox. For that kind of selections, you actually choose checkboxes. And date pickers, and the input field asked for enter your date of birth, then you'll pick date from the calendar. This is called date pickers. Form fields, there are different kind of forms like input, that means your you can only enter text. You can enter text in the input field. Selection field is like a drop down. There are set of options are readily available and where you can choose from them. This is called selection text area, which is where you can enter multiple lines of text, is called text area. Like that, uh, this is the call placeholder, that means where you're actually typing. And the text standard from field, which is in blue color, is actually called the label. And hint, so if you want to tell something for the user and what is this field is actually, you can give in the hint field. So you can use placeholder, label, and hints for the text fields, text input fields. These are called radio buttons. For checkboxes, you can do multiple selections, but in radio boxes, you can only select one thing. So different styles of text fields are there in Angular material. You can use any kind of design. This is simple thing. Radio buttons, I have already shown you. Any one option can be selectable among the two, but for checkboxes, you can choose either two also. Selection drop downs. See, this is called selection box, which will have the drop down kind of icon that indicates there are multiple options, and you can tap on there to choose one among them. Sliders, uh, if they ask you enter your age, you can give this kind of slider, so that from 0 to 100 you can choose 25 as your age. Or if it's distance from 0 to 100 kilometers, you can choose 10 kilometers radius. So these are called the sliders. You can use them in mobile apps also. Slide toggle, it's like something like switch on, it's on and it's off. If it's for if you want to turn on notification in your mobile, you can turn on it. To off it, you click like that, it will turn off your notification. This is called slide toggles. Like the navigation, it's also given very clearly for angular material. They explain different components. So how you can group different kind of information within expansion panel. This is called expansion panel. See, the complete panel, it has its heading, and where you can give little information about the panel. And then inside that panel, see the icon, how the icon is changing. When you click it, it expanded, and the icon immediately changed to upward, turn upward, so that it's telling you go up, like that. Yeah, where you can see other informations inside the expansion panels. Dividers, like if there are multiple food items, there are actually item 1, item 2, item 2, item 3. You're ordering food online, you can choose, you can see multiple items, right? So these are called the dividers, to divide the actual elements. cards, simple card. So it is something looks like elevated card with the drop shadow effect. Grid list. This can be used for photo selections or for choose restaurants like that. List view. If the data is given in a list view, you can scroll down to check all the list, right? So this is called the list, like that. Steppers are actually like, uh, if you're registering and they want to divide the registration process into multiple steps. Like for example, in step 1 they take only your username. In step 2 they'll take your email id and phone number. In step 3 they'll ask for create password. So in that process you can give as a step 1, step 2, step 3, and like that you can use the steppers. Tabs. See here, these are the tabs. Overview. If I tap on overview, it displays something, and API, like that. You can use these tabs for your design also. Know all these things and be wise to use properly in the proper area. Otherwise these things make design complex. It's not no, if you know all these things, and it not means that you can use all these things and everywhere. There are limitations for things, for few things. Button. See, there are actually different states of buttons also: disabled, one button, accent, primary, basic. Fab as actually means floating action button. Mini fab, so that means small floating action buttons. Icon buttons. Flat buttons without any shadow. Stroke, that means no background colors, only strokes with button text in color. Raised with the elevation, I mean with the drop shadow. Basic texts. See, while I'm mouse hovering, their colors are actually changing, right? That's called the states of the button. Progress bars, which indicates if you're downloading something, it actually show in a progress bar. That way you can clearly understand how much it's progressed, right? So that's why it's called progress bar. Dialogues, just like in iOS app, it shows some dialogue to take your input. Snack board is actually a bottom thing which gives you the information like this. See, so when you're entering, if something is wrongly entered, or if they want to suggest something, you can use snack bar. Tooltips, that's called the tooltip. See, when I mouse over on that, it's showing a particular information there within a small rectangular box, right? That is called the tooltip. Data tables, like that. There are a lot of components in Angular. Actually, you can check all these things. What are data tables? You can see here. Okay, friends, and for material, I mean Angular material also, I hope I have given you brief understanding and how to study and how to use these elements. I think I have given you top level of information. You better go through these sites and learn all these things. Okay, and now you know, you may know, I mean, after you have studied all these things, you'll well aware of iOS guidelines, Android guidelines, and material guidelines, and whatever that's, if it's React Native they have other guidelines, if it's Bootstrap they have other guidelines, but all the components for everything is almost similar. And now what? Now you have to do design, but you are a fresher, and nobody gives you work or any app challenge for you to design. So in that case, how will you get some requirement to design? In that case, I suggest you, if you're designing for Android, go to Google Play Store and check for popular apps. If you're doing dating app like that, if you're doing for fitness, finance, there are a lot of categories there. So check this. Health and fitness, if you're doing for health and fitness, download some of these apps and take screenshot of everything when from your initial registration to usage, and follow those screens while you're designing, and clearly understand every while you're actually using mobile app. Don't just blindly click everywhere. Just observe everything. When you tap on input field, how that input field is animated, and what kind of icons they are using, what kind of style they're using for heading, and style they're using for paragraph, style they're using for buttons, and what how they're showing different kind of data in a different ways, how they're showing photos, how they're showing tables, how they're showing information, and what kind of illustrations and graphics they're using. Observe all these things. I recommend you. So from here you can start your actual UI UX, and you can show them as a portfolio. There are a lot of sites out there like Dribble. See, many world class, I mean top notch UX designers are all out here in Dribble. You can check their design styles and get inspired from them. Even sometimes I refer Dribble for my inspiration, because sometimes I got out of thoughts. In that time, I come to Dribble and surf lot of designs and pick the elements that I like from every design, and I try to use them in my design. That way you can make your design look more perfect. If you want, you can check my account dribble.com/art tutor. Along with the UIUX, I'm also do a lot of things like motion graphics, character designing, illustrations, mobile apps design, logo design, how to use 3D, how to do isometrics. All these things I have in my portfolio. You can check them. But Dribble is the best place for your design inspiration. And also like that, there is other site called Behance. Behance is also best site for your design inspirations, where you can see multiple of designs here like business cards, illustrations, logos, photography, product designs, all these things. If you check for UI UX, then you will see only UI UX like that. I prefer another site called Uplabs. This one is also a very best site to showcase your work here and maintain your portfolio in Uplabs. And in Uplabs, they'll give badges also. They'll give badges for you, and you can download many things, many templates for free, and reuse them in your design. Some are for premiums or like to purchase, and almost they are free. See here, you can download them. You can find based on the application. If you're using XD, you can see only XD uploads. If you're using Figma, you can see only Figma things to download here in Uplabs. um, like that for websites. You can always come to theme forest, which is the best thing. There are a lot of tons of templates are available in theme forest. Of course, they're for to purchase, but you can take their sites as a reference and you can copy them, replicate them. You can do that. There are no restrictions actually until you get I mean you master in this type of designs. There is no wrong in copying some others work and following their styles. Everyone do that. Even I do when I was learning. I mean I did that. Okay guys, now I have told you what are iOS guidelines, what are Android guidelines, what are Angular material guidelines in a top level, and I also told you where to get best inspiration for your designs, how to refer others' works and take inspiration from them, how to download their work. I told you. I know I'll tell you the UI kits. UI kits are like pre-made templates which you can directly download them and you can use almost uh, for your application. Like see there are already pre-designed date pickers, cards. I mean different things are there, right? Alert boxes. So you can copy them and paste in your design, or else you can directly customize these and modify these for your application. These are called the UI kits. UI kits are available for different category of icon. I mean category of apps. And where can we find these UI kits? There are a lot of sites out there. You can search for free UI kit sites, and mostly I like one that is UI8.net, where we can find premium as well as the freebies also, and what kind of format you want, whether it's Figma, Framer, XD, and all these things are available here. I chose XD and freebies, so you can download free UI kits from here and use that in your designs. Even though you know how to design them, there is no wrong of using UI kits because that will save you a lot of time when the deadline is and when there is a tight deadline. If by using UI kits, you will save a lot of time while designing. So download a lot of things and maintain data, good data with you, and use them whenever they're needed. That's a good thing, and the tip that I am giving you. Okay, I hope now you got I hope now you got an idea about what is UI, UX, and what are the guidelines, where to find them, and where to showcase your portfolio, and how to get your inspiration, and how to take app requirements from Google Play Store, and like that, how to find free UI kits. I told you. And now it's time for you to design your own design language system, because many big companies and many customers want their own customized design look, so that they're having their own design language system. Like if you go for IBM, they have their own design language system. They have their own guidelines for the design, and Airbnb have their own style of icons, typography, and design layouts, styles. So you can create your own design language system for your app, and even you can sell the themes and templates in UI.net theme forest and like that kind of sites. Uber call their brand a bold, so like that IBM have separate name for their design language system. Airbnb have name for their design language system. And continuously read a lot of articles on UI UX design, and as well as uh, I suggest you to read UI UX design case studies, which will help you how many people are solving other people's from design, I mean business ideas with their UI UX. So study the case studies of different people's UI UX design, and you'll find a lot of tips and techniques inside. In this medium.com site, you can find inspiration, I mean case studies. So knowing only all these things won't help you, but for everything there should be a process which every UIX designer follows. Some companies follows their own process, but mostly many people follow this process what is called design thinking. So I'll briefly explain you what is design thinking is. It actually contains of 5 stages. First stage is like empathize, second stage is like define, and third stage is ideate, fourth stage is prototype, fifth stage is testing. Okay, what are these? In empathy stage, you actually collect lot of data from uh, people's, collect their feedback, what they're feeling about the mobiles applications and all these things. If you're going to design UI UX for food delivery app, you should interview a lot of people and take their feedback, what features they still want in upcoming applications, and also what are the problems they're facing in the present applications. So take data and collect all the points, and within this data you should have to define a statement, like you collect the main points and define on particular statement. So and write the points what are you going to develop in your design, and how you're going to solve the problem by using your user experience process. So based on this defined statement, you'll ideate on particular concept for your application, and with that ideation you'll do wireframes, and you'll do UI UX design, and you'll do prototype. Okay, I hope many of you may know or not know about the prototype, but prototype is actually the making of UI UX into a real time of uh, interaction. Like you can access the screen by clicking on the buttons and going to the next screens, and you can check the flow of the overall application. So that is called the testing phase. Once you done the doing prototype, you will test your prototype, and you will see the back mean uh, drawbacks of your prototype, and you'll again refine that, and you'll do another version of your prototype until you get the perfect product. Once you get the perfect prototype in your hand, you'll take that into the actual design and development. That's how this process helps. And there is also another principle called 5 elements of UIX. In this process it actually contains 5 layers like strategy, scope, structure, skeleton, and surface. Surface is something what you're actually seeing on and the phone. Strategy is your idea, what you're going to develop. Scope means in this stage, you'll check the possibilities of the application and you'll define a structure like the flow of the application, and you'll prepare a wireframes which is skeleton, and finally you'll get into the surface which is the finalized user interface. So like this, there are many theories on the mobile apps or web apps UI UX design, and also this process may apply to many design, not only for the mobile and web applications but also for other products also. Okay, I hope you understand now the theory also. But what are the best tools in the market, or what are the best tools available for the freshers, new learners to design the UI UX? Actually, I always prefer Figma for the freshers because it is completely open source, and already huge community is established on the Figma. It's completely open source. You can download it and you can use it freely. It's the best tool. You can also prototype using Figma, and you can find a lot of tutorials in my YouTube channel for the Figma basics and all. Okay, friends, I hope I have given you a better idea about what is UI, what is UX, and all these things, and how to maintain your portfolio. So, if there are any comments, you can leave in comment section, and then you can ask for suggestions, and you can suggest me either. And thanks for watching. Before leaving this tutorial, don't just go. If you're not subscribed to our tutor, please subscribe to our tutor, and like our video, subscribe it, and above all things, don't forget to share this tutorial. Thank you. We'll meet in next tutorial. Bye.
అయిపోయిందా డాడీ